So in my Gintoki video, I said that Tamashii Nations 2024 was coming up and we were going to get a lot of reveals, but I didn't know exactly when it was happening, and it is happening pretty much right now. Some of these things are straight up brand new. One thing I want to talk about that isn't super brand new, I think it got announced earlier this week, is this here. I just want to talk about this real quick. It is the Egghead Island Arc Luffy here. I'm nowhere near this, just letting you guys know. For people who wanted this version of Luffy, this does look pretty cool. Me personally, I do want to see them make some characters that we haven't seen yet. We don't have Usopp yet. I'd like to also see an East Blue version. I know we already have a later arc version of Sanji, but East Blue Sanji also to finish that main 5 from the original original arcs there. Nico Robin would also be nice, but I'm sure there's other characters I think a lot of you would also like to see over those two. But, I mean, this is Luffy here. It's the main character of the series. They're going to keep making Luffy figures. It's just like how people would complain if we kept getting Goku in a Dragon Ball line. It's the main character of the series. They're not going to stop. That's just it is what it is. But this doesn't look bad either, and this is going to be dropping for pre-order November 18th. I believe that is Monday. Could be wrong, but it's coming up pretty soon. I'll go into the brand new One Piece reveal that happened like a few hours ago right now, and we have Blackbeard here looking really nice actually. I'm also nowhere near this arc, so I'm really bad. I'm so behind on so much stuff I want to watch. I've just been way too busy and preoccupied with life lately. This doesn't look too bad though. With this character design, translating it into figure form is going to look a little iffy. I mean, you have this large character here. It has to, at least in this image, it needs a stand to stand up on its own. You can see that around the feet, which, yeah, some people would think, oh boy, this is going to be a nightmare to pose, isn't it? It doesn't look bad. Looks like we do have a mix of the soft goods with this more yellow orange-ish type of cloak that we have for him, but we also have definitely plastic on that inner that jacket right there, as you see there. Also, articulation in the beard, which is nice to see, if you want to move that around, but it does break up the sculpt of the beard, which that is the give and take of articulation there. Other than that, it really doesn't look too bad. This is the only image we have right now. A lot of stuff that I'm showing off here, we only have one image of a lot of this stuff, and some things, if they have multiple images, they're dropping for pre-order soon. I will make sure to let you guys know about that. But also, I do want to move on to the Demon Slayer stuff. I believe this was leaked. Not really leaked. It was in Shonen Jump's product catalog that they mentioned that we're getting this. And of course, we're getting Rengoku in the SH Figuarts Demon Slayer line. This is way too popular still of a character to not make figures of. Whatever company is making a Demon Slayer line, they're going to make Rengoku. It's still way too popular of a character. So anybody, again, complaining, oh, we have the Figma and we have the Buzz mod. It is what it is. Again, way too popular of a character. I still really like this character. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, so some people are already like, yeah, maybe I'm not going to do Figma and Buzz mod. I don't have any of those. Well, I do have the Figmas, actually. I don't have the Figma Rengoku. I have the Figma of the main 4s. I'm not a fan of those. I don't have any of the SH Figuarts Demon Slayer stuff yet. I'm just, me personally, not crazy about Demon Slayer. So I don't know if I'm going to commit to doing a different line of Demon Slayer figures. But for people who are really excited for SH Figuarts Rengoku, there you go. It does look pretty cool. Wish that the cloak here, maybe that would have been like soft goods. Yeah, it seems like they've been really iffy about who gets soft goods and who sticks with plastic. So I really feel like that this figure would have benefited from soft goods there. We also have Akaza that was also in the Shonen Jump product catalog, which is basically a leak. This also looks really good. Now, I think this is, I don't have images of them side by side with each other, but out of the Buzz mod, Figma, and this one, I personally think this one looks the best. It looks really fantastic. I'm really digging a lot of the muscle details, a lot of the paint going on in there. I can see separation of sculpting with the blue onto the skin tone. That is really nice in terms of detail there. The way that the pants look, the rolled up, the cuffs of the legs, it just looks really fantastic, man. I'm really digging how this one looks. I don't know if I'll get this one too, because then I'd have to basically commit myself to getting more Demon Slayer stuff. Now, again, not saying Demon Slayer's bad. just personally not crazy about it to where I would buy figures of it. But hey, if you really wanted an SH Figuarts Akaza, there you go. It looks pretty nice. Now this is pretty exciting. We do have new Berserk figures coming. We have Band of the Hawk attire versions of Guts and Casca. Very excited about these because, and I don't know if I've ever said this on the channel, but in the back of my mind, if we ever got Band of the Hawk versions of these characters, especially Guts, I would totally have bought them. You know, you guys know how I feel about that one Guts, which I've repaired it. And I've had replacement parts, I should say. Put the replacement parts on, ended up selling it. So I don't have it anymore. I don't have any of the SH Figuarts Berserk stuff. Might need to track down Griffith at this point. I really hope that they have it slightly available. Or if they would eventually re-release Griffith on its own without the horse, which is what I would prefer. This here, both of these look great. So excited that we're getting a Casca figure. I think the last time we've had any kind of Casca figure was like the Figma, and that's super expensive now, not very easy to get. Similar to a Band of the Hawk version of, you know, Guts here, back with the Figma one, which that always looked really nice. These both are definitely more manga-esque. This whole line has always been very manga-esque, which makes sense because, I mean, it doesn't really make that much sense to base it off any of the anime. When there's different types of anime, and also people don't like the animes. I mean, I like the 90s one, but I really dig how both of these look. I felt like the look of Guts was a little bit off, at least at first, but it doesn't look very bad now that I'm looking at this on a monitor here. If you hear any clicking from my mouse, that's what that is. So I apologize for that. I don't know if I've already said that, but both of them just look really good. We have it's just this one image right now. We don't have multiple images yet of these, but you can tell that we're going to have a little bit of that smaller sword here, which I think it's going to be easier for people to pose with this. Again, I know a lot of more people are more accustomed to seeing Guts in his Berserker armor. But me personally, I've always been a big fan of how the Band of the Hawk attire is done. Lots of soft goods. Not just on the cloak or the cape for Guts, not just on the cape for Casca, but I believe on Casca's skirt as well. And all of their armor, all of their plating, all of that looks really fantastic as well. Especially on, it's a little bit more covered up on Guts in this image, but on Casca, the plating on all of that looks really fantastic. A lot of really nice, if you look at Guts' arm, his right arm, that shading on the skin tone is very well done. So I am super excited for these. Definitely going to be pre-ordering these. I don't talk about the Across the Spider-Verse line that much as I should, I guess. There's a lot of characters that are being made in this line that I haven't talked about at all. Like, we have a new Peter B. Parker. We've had Spider-India announced. We've had even Spider-Punk. I just have not talked about any of that in a while. But as of this week, we have news of Spider-Noir here with Spider-Ham. I don't remember if any of these other figures ever came with a Spider-Ham. Also, so many companies have made Spider-Ham at this point to where I just can't keep track of which one is which, unfortunately. We have so many Spider-Hams. But both these do look really cool. I do think, I don't know what it is about the soft goods on Spider-Noir, but I think the cuffs might be a little too large. I think the whole thing might look a little too large, but it doesn't look bad at all. Detailing on the actual figure looks really fantastic. And Spider-Ham, a lot of us are pretty familiar with it just being, or comfortable, I guess. I wouldn't say comfortable, but a lot of us know by now that if you're going to make a Spider-Ham figure, at least in this scale, this short, it's probably going to be pre-posed. So if you're a crazy person and also rich and you want to buy a bunch of multiple figures for across different lines that come with Spider-Ham, so you have different types of posing for Spider-Ham, there you go. You have a different type of pose now. With Spider-Ham, both of these do look pretty nice, though. I don't think I'd be able to get these, though. I mean, a lot of these figures in this line look really tempting, the Spider-Verse line. But at this point, I've missed out on so many of them. I never got Miles or Gwen to where I think it's best if I just hold off on that. We also have them returning to the Harry Potter license, which is kind of surprising because years ago they worked on Sorcerer's Stone figures when they were like super young. But now we have a Goblet of Fire version of Harry here, as you see in his attire for the games. This is very surprising, actually. I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan. It kind of sounds like I'm not really a fan of anything from this video, but I promise there's some stuff here I'm about to geek out on. But this is honestly not bad looking. I think that this actually has a really nice look of likeness, I should say, of Daniel Radcliffe as a little bit, more of a teenager. I'm wondering if we'll ever get Deathly Hallows versions of the characters, since those are like almost the oldest versions of the character besides, the very last scene of those movies. Those would be the older versions, and I think a lot of people would honestly be digging those too. But this is not too bad looking either. There's just not much for me to say here. Just one image so far and no other news of releases, or like release dates, I should say. But they're also making Voldemort. I probably shouldn't have said the name. Oh well. But this looks sick. The whole figure is covered in soft goods. Seems like they are giving a lot of the realistic characters. Now, they're also giving it to, anime characters, but definitely realistic figures are getting more of the soft goods treatment, which is interesting to see. This looks really sick, though, and you can use this. This is, again, a Goblet of Fire version, but you can really use this as your, second half of the Harry Potter saga version of Voldemort throughout, whatever you want to do. If you want to have an older Harry, and you have this with that Voldemort, I mean, that's really sick. So I definitely see them coming back to the Harry Potter license. I don't know, immediately, probably not, besides these two figures, but I could definitely see them in the future making Deathly Hallows versions of the characters, and then you compare them with this Voldemort if you really wanted to. There was literally nothing else I can talk about in terms of images, because this is all we have. Looks like we do have some bendy wires maybe in this outfit, but yeah, if you are, if you wanted to see any more Harry Potter figures at all, not just SH Figuarts related, but at all, I think you guys have a really good choice here with SH Figuarts. Now we're getting to the stuff that I will geek over. We have Lord of the Rings images, updates to what I was talking about last week, where we have teases of those figures, and we finally have some full reveals. By the way, if you hear any rattling or any kind of buzzing, I'm in an office right now where the AC is going off, so I apologize for that. But we have Frodo here, and we also have Gollum being packed with Frodo here. And these are Fellowship of the Ring versions, even though you technically didn't really see Gollum that much in Fellowship of the Ring. I'm just, not at least the one that we are all accustomed to. We only saw that, by the time we got to, Two Towers. But I digress. Looking pretty good here. So let's move on to another image. A little bit of a close-up of the figure there, and I had a guess of what the accessories could include, and I was kind of right, because we have a hand. The right hand has the ring in there, which is really cool to see. If you were looking at the face, it definitely, the sculpt-wise, it looks like Elijah Wood. I think the face printing is the problem, and it's not just an SH Figuarts thing. Sometimes Hasbro Marvel Legends with their MCU figures has a little bit of that problem too, but I think that I've seen way worse face printing of realistic characters in the SH Figuarts line compared to this figure. I don't think it's too bad. You're also getting an idea of the mix of plastic we have going on here. Everything I thought was going to be plastic in his outfit is like I thought it was going to be, and then we have a cloak here that is soft goods, and you have this. I feel like the brooch there is a little comically large. If it has a proper function, I can see it, being that large, I guess, if it was actually something that was clipping in the soft goods there, but I don't really know for sure until I get it in hand. But I feel like that should be a little bit smaller, even for Frodo, who is a smaller character. Moving on, though, you can see him holding Sting here, looking pretty good. You do get a fist on the left side, so you do get alternate hands overall. I need to keep looking at some of these images, because I feel like there's not really that many expressions with this particular Frodo figure. That would be a little disappointing. I'm wondering what the price point of this is going to be, because this is a little bit of a smaller character. If we have a couple more faces, I'm not really sure what else we could do, but maybe like a smiling expression. I guess him screaming, because sometimes he does go to battle. That would be nice as well. And I honestly, again, I'm looking at this, I think the more I look at it, the more I like the soft goods. The way that it's trimmed does look really nice. I think the stitching is a little heavy on it, at least on towards the rim. But we do have a hood on it, and that is pretty nice. I'm wondering, I think everything's going to have a bendy wire, even the hood. I could be wrong about that. But this still looks good head to toe. Not gonna lie, I do think that the pins in the feet were a little apparent, unfortunately. But I mean, that's kind of like that. That's kind of how action figures are when they have toe articulation. This is what the Gollum is gonna be. I'm not crazy about what they're doing with Gollum here. It's basically more of a statue, and it has a little bit of articulation, just like a swivel in the arms, and then maybe a ball joint in the head. And we do have face printing in the face, I guess. I do kind of wish they released this as a separate figure with actual proper articulation. Maybe they will down the line, but I mean, I know that this character is mostly in crouching poses, but that would have been nice just to have actual articulation in this figure, so we had an option of making it stand up straight. And the limbs, the limbs seem long enough to where I think they could have made it work, where a little bit more exaggerated proportions if they really needed to. But we have this image here where you get an idea of what kind of articulation is going on. So because this is more of a statue look for it, even though there is a little bit of swiveling around the shoulders, it's going to break up that sculpt of how the muscles look, which, yeah, I just wish it was more of an actual, it's just more of an actual figure, man. I mean, it's nice that it can look up at least, but yeah, I'm not really sure about this particular thing. But both of these are being packed together, and here's just a more dramatic close-up image. Now that I'm looking at it a little bit closer, I do think that the face printing is a little iffy. That could be the lighting going on here. But I mean, this still, I don't think this looks super awful or anything. I think a lot of the other details going on are really cool. And then this gives you a look at what Frodo is going to stack up to compared to Aragorn there. I think this is a good size. Maybe Frodo could be a little bit shorter, but honestly, it doesn't look too bad. I think a lot of us are going to be playing with perspective in some of these photos. I'm sure a lot of us are going to be photographing them side by side, of course, but I think you can make it work to where if Frodo was ever so slightly more in the foreground, in like Aragorn was in the background of some shots, basically what they were doing when they were filming these hobbits in the movies, then maybe it could work. I don't think that the size difference here is too bad. It could be maybe a little bit shorter, or it could be completely accurate, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But I want to move on to Aragorn, which is what I'm super excited about. And honestly, this isn't very much worse than what I was kind of dreading it would look like. And I say that because I was still very excited in the previous video I made for this line. But it's just that their realistic characters end up being a little wonky looking sometimes, at least in the face. But this looks a lot like Viggo Mortensen to me. I mean, not 1000% perfect, of course, but it looks a lot like him. Like, this is Aragorn, and this is such a sick figure, and very much looks like the Strider version. Everything we have here is more, it's all listed as the Fellowship of the Ring versions, but this here is definitely more of the Strider outfit from the beginning, pretty much almost, well, I wouldn't say the whole film, but I think what a lot of people are accustomed to his look as, unless you see him as the king mostly, which is fine too. Yeah, looking really nice, and you can see how that soft goods looks there. I think the brooch looks a little bit better in comparison here, but I think it should still be a little smaller. I could be wrong about that. Now, one thing I think is a little iffy is the screaming face, but it is pretty far away, and I can't see it super well. So hopefully we'll get some more images, like in-hand images from Tamashii Nations 2024 of how this is actually going to look. Screaming expression is a little off. Also, the eyes look completely white in this image for some reason, at least to me. But, you do have a look of what the sword looks like, looking really nice. You get that flowing cape there, so it does look like there is bendy wires going on. And I really dig how the rest of this looks. It looks like the rest of the longer parts of his outfit are, that are plastic. Those are softer plastic, so it shouldn't get in the way too much. But this is mostly a standing pose, so we don't really have much of an idea of how much articulation might be in the way, or of these plastic pieces getting in the way of articulation is what I should say. But looking on the back of the character here, you can see his pack as well as his quiver going on there, so that is also really nice. Does not look like the bow is removable, which is fine. I don't really remember him using a bow at all in the movie. I could be wrong, but again, very much the Strider look with this green type of, a very dark green, or like an olive green almost, the type of outfit going on here with this longer coat, I guess. And then we have him standing here. He just looks great. I don't know what else to say. Like, I think it's a very nice looking figure. And you do see the necklace. I forget the exact name of the necklace right now, but the necklace right there is sculpted on there, which makes sense. Not removable, I guess. You can see the knife right there too, and we'll take a look at an image of him holding that in a second. But you can see that in the on the right side of the character, so that's nice to see that. I just am really digging how this looks. So we have the figure here in more of a diorama, or really like a backdrop in the woods. You get to see the elvish dagger right there. Really digging that. You can see the cape flowing in the wind here, and the way that the sword is also holstered there. Not holstered, you know, sheathed. Is also pretty nice looking. Also, it doesn't look like that brooch actually has that much of a function now that I'm looking at it. So, I don't know. I wish they kind of made that a little small. It's something that I feel like is a weird nitpick, but I think, unless I am remembering it wrong and it's not supposed to be small at all, like it's supposed to be that big, I just don't really remember, man. But I think that this looks really nice. And then this last image of both the characters here, yeah, there's not much else for me to talk about. I am very excited for this particular figure. And last thing I want to mention is that in this line, which I was speculating last time what figures we would get in this line, they've already given us another announcement with no pre-order dates. The other figures, they're coming out, the pre-orders are dropping November 18th, and they'll be out, I think, it says in June. So this one, I don't know, it would probably be a little later, but this is Legolas, as you see here. Just one image of Legolas right now. Man, this is awesome. I'm really hoping that we'll get Gimli somehow, and I'm really hoping that, honestly, if they make Gandalf, maybe pack him with one of the hobbits. At this point, in order for us to get the Fellowship in a timely manner, it might be best for us to bite the bullet with buying 2 figures at once, even though it would be a little bit more expensive, and get maybe, I don't know if Legolas would come with a hobbit too, but I really hope that we somehow get Merry, Pippin, and Sam, of course. It feels like Tamashii Nations might neglect those characters, but I also really don't want them to be statues either, like basically what we have with Gollum, because if we have a statue Sam, that's ridiculous. But we are getting Legolas. There's not much to talk about here. I think like this in Orlando Bloom in this particular image, not the best, definitely not the worst. We'll need to see more images as time goes on. Super long video that is almost done, I promise, and you won't have to hear this AC rattling in the background. It's driving me nuts too. I mean, the last Lord of the Rings video I made, I mentioned this property, but I, for some reason, didn't think of the possibility of figures. But of course, it makes sense that we are getting War of the Rohirrim figures, the new Lord of the Rings anime movie, and it kind of is perfect because SH Figuarts is really good at making anime figures. So, of course, they would make some figures of these. I mean, they were not announced at all last week, though, so this is definitely a surprise. We only have 2 images, not much to go off right now, but we have Hera here, if that's even how you pronounce the names. I'm probably going to mess things up, I apologize. But the main character of the story, looking really fantastic, just holding a sword for now in only one pose. Don't have really any other idea of what other accessories we could get. I'm really digging how this looks already as an action figure. This looks really cool. And then we have the other character here, Wulf. This is very Castlevania looking. This is so sick. I mean, it looked like it kind of do in the trailer, but this is so cool. And a lot of people were mentioning that this looks very much Castlevania-esque. I mean, this is a Belmont. This guy is a Belmont, and he looks a lot like it. But both of these figures look really fantastic. There's not much else to talk about right now with these. No release dates, no other images, no pricing, no pre-order updates or whatever. Just the fact that they are making these 2 figures. And yeah, look, I mean, I wish that his, actual soft goods, we have a fully plastic cape, and I don't really like how it looks, but doesn't really look too bad either. So that's really all I want to talk about. I know it's a long video. There's a couple other things I didn't really get to mention. I'll show this really quick. They're making a Jackie Chan figure, whatever, Police Story, I think is the movie. But yeah, they're making a Jackie Chan figure too, so there's that. What are you guys most excited about that has been announced so far from Tamashii Nations 2024? I'm hoping we get some more reveals as the weekend is going on. Hopefully this is not just it, because it's some good reveals, but I was hoping for some more anime stuff. We had a little bit of some other properties, more live action properties going on, which is fine, but I do also want to see some more anime stuff coming out of this event. So let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below of what you saw today, Leave a like, share with your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there. I have the links of the sources down in the description. It's all from Tamashii Nations Instagram, and I'll see you guys later.